We have 13 weeks of pure excitement, pure learning, pure sharing, doing business together, bonding.
Idea extraction is your bedrock to building a profitable business.
Your business has a value, you have worth, and you need to be able to set your price. No matter how great the product is, it has to be marketed. If you have the cure for cancer tomorrow and you don't market it, no lives will be saved. Think about the challenges that we have and why your product or service is going to fill that. You are the brand. We have to find our own unique value proposition.
At the end of the day, business is about money. And the big question you're always going to get, who is going to pay for this and how much money is it going to actually produce?
The only thing that you need to do is not give up.
This is going to be an exciting ride, ladies. Morning. You know I'm tired when. Hi, Uju, how are you? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, sorry, I wasn't on yet. I was trying to eat.
Yeah, that's okay. Uju, can you share your screen and then I'll just so that way I can read my notes, but just and then I'll cue you to advance the screen. Okay?
I'll do that.
How are you? I miss you, Uju. Listen, I felt so
yay!
Amazing. It was so amazing.
I'm so glad.
From my head to my toes.
They did that, right? So
yes.
Because I have different ones for just your arms and your back. And I was like, yeah, I think the full one would be best.
Listen, Uju, it was so fabulous. I was just moaning all along the table. Thank you so much.
They were asking, do you want a female masseuse or a male masseuse? I said, no, let's do female masseuse.
You know, Uju, I'm looking for a husband. Not that I think it'll be the masseuse, but you know, a man wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah. I was like, let's play it safe. Let's keep it a female
masseuse. Of course.
All right. Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah, so great. So yes, if you could share your screen, that way I can just read my notes and walk through my screen. And we're good to go. But the presentation is great. I hope we're using the same one. Let me just share it with you again. I've made changes in there. I added some pieces for me to look at, but I think you've got it anyway. I think it's the same one, but I'll share it with you again. But that's the one we'll use, okay? It's shared to BBP office. I'll share to Uju. Yeah, make sure this is the one that's on screen, please, because this is the one where all my things are added. Okay.
Okay.
And then after I'm done and I turn it over to you and you do the intro, I'll go on my phone and just listen. But I'm going to drive home after this. I've got a migraine headache, so I'm trying to sort of contain myself, and then just.
When are you going on like a break for the end of the year?
Oh, Uju, I don't know when. And you and I need to have a meeting to talk about Harry Jerome, because Harry Jerome, we need to do the announcement. You know what I'd love for you to do tomorrow, if you can, is talk to Roy and let Roy know that we're going to be launching 2020 Harry Jerome application. So what he needs to do is the problems we had last year, and he knows there's a lot of problems. We need to work out the kinks so we can have it be less. One of the things I want to do, Uju, I want to make the application process easier. Like, it's just too long, you know?
Okay.
Too long. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but I want him. So just let Roy know that and ask him how soon he can get that form ready. The team.
When do you want the applications to start?
It's going to start it already. So let's say after Christmas.
The nominations.
So the day after Christmas, maybe Boxing Day open up, because you know people will be home at Christmas anyway. Just like we're all shut down, so maybe they'll have time now to nominate people.
Okay.
So tell them that we want it to be ready for the 26th of December at like, I don't even mind it being an evening. We can do it a live even, right? So the 26th is Boxing Day. We can even open it up at 7 o'clock, because it's everything stays the same. It's just that we need to just update the form. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. He just needs to switch it over into a new year. And I'm going to look at it even before it goes live. But the 27th, say it at the 26th at 7 o'clock in the evening, we'll do an Instagram live.
Okay. All right. I'm on the.
How's my makeup?
Document now. Nice. Just add a bit of lipstick or lip gloss.
What are you doing for Christmas? What are you doing for the holidays?
Oh, I'm just gonna watch Coming to America for the 1 millionth time.
You know, such a great. That can be. It's like I'm gonna watch The Bodyguard for the 1 gazillion time.
Oh my God, The Bodyguard! That's such a classic. Yes.
love it. It's my favorite.
Okay. All right. I see the.
You saw the new stuff I have in there?
Yeah, I'm just gonna download it now so it's easier for me to share.
Oh, so I guess you can't do it live. It doesn't work if you do it live?
It can, but it's slow. So because of the internet, it just.
You know what? So I'll leave it as is. I'll end there. I'll end there. I wanted to put a photo in. Just let me put a photo in, and that's it.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. I'm good.
Right.
I mailed OVA's gift card today. I
Who?
just OVA, remember the gift card she won for the yeah, I don't have the other women, and I really wanted to send it out today, but I don't have their addresses.
Shamel, I could send it again because I think I sent it.
My bad. So you know what, when you send it, can you CC it to Louis? You'll have to meet Louis, LUIS at Brandy Q. He's better than me, and he'll send it out. So if you see Louis, LUIS at Brandy Q, and he'll send them out for me.
Okay, sounds good. You
Hi,
added.
how are you? I'm good. Let me put my thing on. Great, thank you. I hope lots of checks and presents. Thank you. How are you? Great, thank you so much. Yes, come see it. So I love it. Yeah. So we did it. You know, we did it like the same weekend. It's like burger. Right? So look out here, they did everywhere, and I cleaned up. I'm just gonna give it a food. And then they did the bathrooms as well. They did both bathrooms. Right? Anyway, so I'm yeah. So yeah. But I missed the holiday party.
What holiday party?
That we normally have.
We didn't have it.
No, I know,
But there's a little something in there just
Thank you.
because we couldn't have it.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a big barbecue.
Yes, I can't wait. Yeah. So thank you for bringing this, Andrea.
Oh, listen, I've come before, but the place has been closed.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure, but I figured I'd try.
Yeah. Okay. All right. See you later. All right. Thanks. And this is Louis. Louis, this is our landlord, Andrea. Andrea, this is Louis. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Oh, it's almost time.
Yeah, one of the guest speakers told me earlier today that he's in Ecuador, I think. So the network might be a bit flaky, but I call in.
The Google person's in Ecuador?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they've gone on holiday, so he just left for Ecuador.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, as soon as I'm done, really, I'm gonna run off. I'm gonna go home because my head is throbbing.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay. I tell you, we just have to do what we have to do, you know?
True, very true. Let me see. Oh, we have Velma on. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Oh, so nice. They give us a Tim Horton card. Isn't that nice? Hello, Velma, darling. How are you?
Hi, Velma. She's always looking very pretty.
She's like
Very put together.
What? You look great, Velma. She's just like, I'm ready. She's like, I got this. Yeah. How are you?
You know, I'm exhausted. Like I'm exhausted.
Velma, I was just telling Uju that I have a migraine right now, but I'm just gonna suck it up and finish this and then off. I'm beyond exhausted. I'm so tired.
You know, it's funny. I was we had an event and one of our board members canceled the last minute for something foolish. And I said to him, because it's a guy, of course, right? Because his fingers hurting him, so he can't do anything, right? Because guys are like that. So I'm like, you know how many times I show up when I'm in excruciating pain? I show up, I do my thing, and I leave.
Yeah.
Or I mix and mingle, and then I leave.
Yeah.
No one knows I'm in excruciating pain.
Exactly.
That was the excuse you gave me for not showing up, some foolishness.
Man, they don't know how to suck it up.
Black or white. They're either fine or they're not.
Suck it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you know what? The end is in sight. Tomorrow, I still have a full work day tomorrow because, you know, Vilma, we're working on the federal government thing, right? So
Are you guys, do you have to apply for it or you got it?
yeah, no, we have to apply. We have to apply. So we applied yesterday. Of course, you know, Velma, there's lots I want to talk to you about. And you know, Uju, Velma does not have her gift pack yet from the first set.
Yes.
You know, that's
I don't
just
have
not
it
right.
yet.
That's why she doesn't have her red lipstick on.
Oh, that's wrong.
But Velma,
That's
your lipstick is gorgeous, okay?
Yeah,
Right.
like, I usually do a burgundy brown, but I want the red one.
That's right. And look at her nice nail polish. Where did you get your nails done?
Oh, me?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Myself. Yeah.
I can get to Richmond Hill tomorrow to see if they can do my nails because it's broken. I don't know if you can see.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So what are you doing for Christmas?
Nothing, just, you know, staying in. My daughter, because of the babies, like, you know, with the COVID thing happening, and now like I know people that has it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're trying to be very like, I mean, I've not been around them, but I have to be kind of very cautious, you know. So
Yeah.
nothing, Velma, really, just chilling. What are you doing for Christmas?
Same. Just here, just chilling. I'm in a bubble with my sister, so that'll be it.
Mhm.
okay. We're letting people in the room now.
We have to talk about New Year's though.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
That was really good on Friday night. It was
Thank
good.
you. We had, you know what, we had such amazing feedback from that. Even our partners were like, this
was
is
so
so
fun.
amazing. Yeah, it really was. And in times like this, it just felt good. So I'm glad that, you know, you enjoyed it. I'm glad that people enjoyed it. It was good.
Who was the people from Ottawa? They were so energized.
The couple, right?
From
Yeah.
Ottawa. Yes.
Yes, it was very sweet, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
they were energized.
yeah, you know, Velma, we've been doing a lot of outreach across the country, and a lot of businesses have been reaching out to us. And with our directory, it's sort of let people know that, you know, the BBPA is here. And so a lot of people have registered into our directory. And so like there's people like in Vancouver, all over that has just reached out, which is great. So just, you know, building, which serves great when we launch this ecosystem program. So it's all good. Hello, everybody. I'm always like, excited when I see people. It's what happens when you're the 14th of 14 children and you're from a family. Like I'm used to family dinners being 100 people, 150, and like some people did not get invited because it's just, we have such a big family. So this warms my heart.
Oh, we have our other guest speaker here too,
Oh,
Willie.
Is he on camera yet?
I just let him in, so he's connecting.
Yeah, he's in Ecuador. Can we say now that I've said it out live?
Yes. Hi, Willie. Welcome.
Velma, you got to tell me about your backdrop. I like your
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
He even looks like he's there. Never mind. Can we say he's where he is?
Is your camera on?
Yeah.
You okay?
Hi, Willie from Google. How are you?
Good. How are you? This
good.
works.
Oh, we see. Yes.
I hear you're in someplace exotic and fabulous. We're jealous.
That is 100% correct. No, I'm in Ecuador. And so as you can imagine, doing work on Google all day long, I bombed through the entire internet allocation that we had over the last week. And so, and unlike Canada, we don't have unlimited internet here. We only have like 170 gigabytes per month. And so that just finished after 2 weeks. And so since then, I've been on my phone. So yeah, it's wild, but it works. So that's
It works. It works perfectly. Thank you, and thank you for making the time.
That's great. And there's your Christmas tree behind you.
I know this is on purpose though. I'll have to admit this.
Oh, that's great. So welcome everyone. I'm just gonna jump right in because we've got a full packed program tonight. And maybe just for our icebreaker, we could show our holiday trees or ornaments. You know, I always have prizes to give away, which gives me the fun job. My job is to, when I come on screen, I've got prizes. So who's got the holiday goodies that they're gonna show us on screen? Oh, Velma, what? Is there a present for me under that tree, Velma? Gorgeous, very nice. All right, so Velma's the first one to show her tree. So is Velma the one getting the gift cards today, the $25 Starbucks gift card? One for Velma. So Velma, this will come in your package with your package. And I know we've got
Very fast.
Yeah, exactly. So very fast. We've got 2 gift cards to hand out still. Uju did send me the address, but you know me, of 1,000 things, I probably misplaced it. So I send OVAs today, and ladies, at the other 2 or 3 that we're sending out, I promise you I will mail them tomorrow. And Velma, this is going to go out with you with your stuff tomorrow as well. So thank you for showing us your Christmas tree. So welcome everyone. It's great to see you. Always a pleasure to see everybody. And am I hosting as well, Uju? I don't need to. I just need you to manage the screen because I want to sort of get to my notes.
Okay, that's yeah.
If you could, I don't need to co-host or anything because I want to be able to see my. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, great. As long as everyone else can see the full screen, that's great. So if you could just advance. So welcome everyone. I'm always very thrilled to see you. Today is week 7, one of my favorite sessions. Of course, a lot of them are my favorite sessions, but I believe in the possibility of networking because I have so many stories about how networking has grown my business. And Uju has given me 10 minutes. I'm going to try to stick to time. But you know, as LinkedIn says, relationships matter. You know, people do business with who they know, and networking is just incredible. And so many people, one of the number 1 questions I get asked a lot is that I'm afraid of networking. I don't know how to network. I don't remember who I was talking to last week, and we were having a deep conversation, and they said, "Oh, I'm not outgoing like you. I'm just an introvert." And you're such an extrovert. And I said, you know what? I'm going to tell you a little secret that nobody knows. I'm going to tell all of you this little secret into the land of Nadine. When I was growing up, I was quote unquote shy. Can you imagine that, me being identified as shy? Can't imagine, right, Uju? Cannot imagine. And I wouldn't say I'm an extrovert. I wouldn't say like I like sort of being home. I don't call it by myself. I call it with myself. So I enjoy time to myself. So I'm not the person that's like, you know, yes, Miss Personality, I'm just out there. I have to make an effort too. That's the point of my story, is that I also have to make an effort when I go out there to, you know, just get into the groove and socialize and network. However, because I recognize that it's such a big part of the experience for business, people do business with who they know. And part of that is building your relationships with others. So, you know, networking isn't just about connecting with people. It's about connecting people with people, and people with ideas, and people with opportunities, according to Michelle Jean. Next slide, please, Uju. And as I mentioned, you know, people do business with who they know. So because people do business with who they know, it's really important that we get to know a lot of people. Many years ago in 1992, I was planning to study law, and I went to Harvard to interview, and I met Barack Obama at the time. At the time, he was just Barack Obama, and him and Michelle were just dating. But how I got there was I wasn't afraid. I saw him on the cover of Ebony magazine in 1992, and he was the head of the Harvard Law Review, the first Black man to head the Harvard Law Review. And I called him up and I said, "Hello, Barack, my name is Nadine A. I'm in Toronto. I want to go to Harvard. You're the head of the Harvard Law Review. So obviously you must have something to tell me about how I could navigate my path when I, you know, go to Harvard." And we met, you know, and so not being afraid is a key part to, you know, expanding your network and just, you know, looking at any opportunity that you possibly can and reaching out to people asking for advice. You know, the successful networks, I know, according to Bob Berg, are the ones receiving tons of referrals, you know, continually putting the other person's need ahead of your own as well. So as much as, you know, we want to work with people, we want the networking opportunity because we want the business opportunity. One of the things that I recognize as well is to ask individuals, and what can I do for you as well? It's not a one-way street. It has to be a reciprocal arrangement. So next slide, please. So and then on to the next slide. So one of the best, I went to a seminar many years ago and I got this chart, how to work a room. And I'm going to share this with everybody as well after the session. Uju will share with everybody. And I love this because you may not do all of the 14 steps to how to work a room, but there's many things that here is a great value. Number one, I think, you know, they say that I've always used, they say don't go in cold. meaning that if you know you're going to a group, for example, we had a dinner on politics event last August, well, August, not last August, the August before, with Operation Black Vote Canada. And, so we recognized different individuals were going to be in the room. I did. And some of them I knew and some of them I didn't know. So the ones that I didn't know, I quickly looked up who they are, what they do, and what my point of conversation would be with them, because I want to sort of have an level playing field. What do we have in common, or what can I discuss? So never go in cold. Think about who's going to be in the room and what you can offer in terms of conversation with them as well. The opener is not to be that I want to do business with you and that's why I want to know you, but what else can we find as the hook in terms of really authentically establishing a great contact. The other one I want to mention, which is key, you'll have all of this. The travel light is the easiest, is another great one, because you don't want to be bombarded with, you've got tons of books, tons of things in your hand. You always want to leave one hand open for extending for the handshake, and you want to carry yourself as light as possible. The best people I see that work a room or participate in a room, they're traveling light. Even if they're having a drink, it's a very light approach. Next one is to walk the walk. It's so important when you walk in and you're looking confident. I think the last session I showed people how to enter a room. So another time we'll do that, because our agenda is so packed tonight. But again, you want to sort of walk and look confident, not that, like you don't belong there. You want to look like you belong in that room, and you want to own the space and resonate confidence, because people will, again, latch onto you as you do that. Number 6, I'll pass through to number 6, approach the VIPs first. So you're in a conference and, there's a keynote speaker. You want to sort of, talk to them first, right? Find out, and sometimes there's a big queue. I'll share with you one example. I was at the Congressional Black Caucus Convention, and I met Van Jones. I'm sitting there, and Van Jones is quite gorgeous, quite good looking. So I'm staring at him, and I reckon all the things he had to say. He talked about, equity and all these things. So he comes off the stage, and I remember my rule, and I rushed to him, and I said, "Hey, Van Jones, you were so awesome. You were so great." And he said, "Yeah, Nadine." I introduced myself, and he says, "Tell me, what did you like about what I said? What point resonated with you?" And I stood there, and I didn't know what to say. I mean, instead of babbling off all the things that he talked about that, I was very impressed with in terms of, record. He talked about at the time, Americans were going to be voting, and he talked about the importance of voting and all that. And I was just so starstruck. I said nothing. And I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed." But he was very sweet. That's one of the things I remembered specifically. But approach the VIP, but remember why you're approaching them. What is the one point that you want to connect with as to why you're approaching them? So that's key. And be curious, ask questions. One of the things that I do when I work a room, I never say, "What do you do?" I say, "What do you do that you don't get paid for? What are your philanthropic activities? What do you do outside of your work?" Because yes, everybody has a job, everybody has that, but what else can we talk about that's of relevance, that isn't just the basic? And also, lastly, I'm going to talk about press the flesh. They say women in general, when we leave a conversation, we don't shake, we don't extend our hand. We only extend our hand into the conversation. So I say, "Hello, Willie, it's nice to meet you," and so forth. But as we leave, men naturally extend the hand again on the goodbyes, but the women don't. So you want to remember to do that. All right. And so one of the key things, number 13, is give and take. You have to give, and you have to as you take as well. So this will be left for you. Uju will share this with everyone, and you'll have this great cheat sheet. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, everybody can take away something from this sheet. And next slide, Uju. So lastly, remember, your network is your net worth, and so they say, show me who you hang around with, and I'll tell you who you are. Your opportunities for, in terms of mentorship, allyship, all of that, any business opportunity that you imagine that you would have can come from great relationships, great partnerships. And just remember that as you build work and build your business. Last point before I take off. There's an obvious reason why the most successful business leaders are incredible at building relationships. And that obvious reason is that, again, people do business with who they know. And when you are looking for an opportunity, or just even, mentorship, just advice even, naturally people will go to who they've met. And so you want to work to expand and build your network. And to that note, we have two incredible speakers here today. We have Willie Kuhn from Google Canada. We also have Velma Morgan who's the chair of Operation Black Belt Canada, who will share with you their respective experiences in their networking ability in their respective areas. So I want to thank them both for joining. And then Uju, I will turn it right back over to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That was very, very insightful. I'm going to use that cheat sheet that you shared with us as a Bible going forward, because like you said, sometimes it could be a challenge just working the room when you get in. So thank you. And now we have our next speaker. Some of you may have already seen him and his gorgeous Christmas tree behind him. Our speaker is Willie Kuhn. I hope I'm getting that correctly, Willie.
That works. That works.
Okay, you should correct me though. What's the correct pronunciation?
It's well, I've also kind of misspelled it on purpose because there's a U with the 2 dots above it because I'm German. Oh. Okay. And it's actually Kühne, but for the Kühne. Purpose of English, I always say Kühne. That works. It's great.
Okay. So ladies, here's the senior account executive at Google Canada. Willie is digital media executive for Google, and from 2016 to 2018, he served as the head of agency for Google Philippines. And prior to that, he was a senior agency consultant in Germany. Willie has worked with global brands such as PepsiCo, WPP, Walt Disney, and Publicis. Outside of work, he's a new dad to a wonderful little girl and a passionate cook. Congratulations on your daughter, and welcome to Boston.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I have to start right away with a little blow to everything. I do have a hard stop at 7, but it has a good reason, because I have to join the bath time routine for the evening. So I have to do baby baths and story time reading at 7, and that's how usually my evenings go after 7 o'clock. But I think everything should be okay in terms of time.
All right. So I'm navigating your slide for you. So just let me know when you need me to move.
Yeah, wonderful. I'll just stay next. But yeah, you can already go to the next slide. So yeah, thanks for having me. It's definitely been quite a journey inside of Google in many different countries, which I'm very grateful for, because this also helped me to be exposed in different countries where this is very fitting to today's session, but you have to build a network from scratch, right? Because you are entering a new country, you're basically a nobody. I'm trying just to kind of relate to my experience in the Philippines. And you need to conduct business in that country and need to build an established network. And so that takes a little bit of time. It takes a lot of effort, but whatever you put in is well worth the price tag in the end. And that's kind of what I want to cover today a little bit in terms of networking, but I want to go even a bit broader, because I thought about the topic, and my experience at Google is I have been working, as Uju said, with global brands. Right now in Canada, I'm working with Walt Disney, Warner Brothers. I'm essentially working with all the movie studios and try to bring their wonderful movie trailers onto YouTube. So every time you see a movie trailer, that's basically running through my team. It's quite a fascinating job because I get to see a lot of the movies before they actually come out. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. Next to that, though, I'm also been teaching a course over the last 3 years, which is called Advanced Influence. And I teach that to all the Googlers here in Canada and even in North America. And my objective today is to give you somewhat of a condensed version of it, so that you can take the key learnings with you in terms of why is influencing important? How do influencing, building relationships, and networking, how do they actually go together? And how can I improve that journey on my end? That's sort of my goal for you today. And that's what I will be walking you through. And so the first question then arises. It's like, okay, why does influencing actually matter? Which you can stay at this slide, that's fine. But that's what I asked myself. Why does it matter? Why is it important? And truth be told, leadership without any influence, and that's what we also see at Google, isn't really leadership, right? If you don't know how to influence, then you cannot be essentially a good leader. And if you're not a good leader, it's probably quite tough to also be quite good in business. That's why that is a very important fundament to what you do. So understanding how to leverage the influence and influencing can actually make you or make a huge difference in your ability to drive change. It can help you build better and cohesive teams, and it can also help you to successfully implement a strategic vision. Essentially, influencing is ever present, and even when you're networking, that becomes a huge presence. If you think about it, influencing is every human interaction we have, right? Me as a new parent, I can super relate to this. I'm trying to influence my child. my baby is now she's on her road to 8 months, and I'm just barely teaching her the word no because she loves daddy's phone a lot. Every baby likes a phone, so she tries to take that all the time. I'm trying to like practice like no, please no, please no. So I'm trying to influence that behavior early on, very unsuccessfully, but at least I'm trying. But the same goes in business, right? Customers influence employees, and employees influence the customers. There's media influence, legal influence, religious influence, social influence. Influence is essentially all around us, right? So that's a very important part. But in order to be a really good influencer, there's one more thing. You can go to the next slide, Uju. And that is trust, right? So trust essentially becomes the cornerstone to our relationships that we have. So we have to build trust in order to maintain our relationships and continue in our influencing journey. And I just want to relate back to networking, because when you network, you want to build trust and rapport with a person quite early. And the same goes for your customers too. So how can we build relationships and influence, for example, the buying decisions of our customers if they don't trust us? So trust becomes a very important element. Now, how do you build trust, right? You can go next slide. Trust essentially is built through a very simple equation. I don't know if you've seen this equation before, but I do want to highlight it one more time because it really builds on everything we're talking about. But the formula to build trust essentially is credibility plus reliability plus intimacy. And then you have the denominator of self-orientation. Now, credibility has to do with the words we speak, right? So in a sentence, we might say, I can trust what she says about her business, products, or topics. She seems knowledgeable, so obviously she's credible. Reliability is a big one because it is tied to direct actions, right? We might say, if he says he will deliver the product tomorrow, he will deliver the product tomorrow. And if he doesn't, then obviously he will lose some trust on my end. Intimacy sounds a bit tricky as a word, but it's actually referring to the safety and security that we feel when we entrust and trusting someone with something. For example, how often have you said, I can trust her with this information? She's never violated my confidentiality before. She would never embarrass me, right? So that kind of falls into intimacy. Self-orientation refers to the person's focus, in particular, whether the person's focus is primarily on him or herself or on the other person. Ideally, if you have more orientation on the other person and the other person's outcome, that trust of the other person in you is going to increase. However, how often have you noticed a situation where you really, really want something and maybe your self-orientation is prevailing? Then in that case, the trust level is relatively low. So in order to win trust, that's what these little arrows on the side indicate. You have to increase your credibility, reliability, and intimacy. And if you want to lose trust, you essentially have to increase your self-orientation, right? So it makes it more about you. And why am I telling you all of this? Because the truth in selling is that you seek more excels when you stop trying to actually sell, right? So instead, what you have to do is help focusing on prospects, on your customers, on your business. And once they trust you more, they'll also buy more from you. And that's kind of how this whole ecosystem at Google works as well. Which you can go to the next slide, please. So in summary, exactly, greater trust equals better relationships and easier influencing. Trust is the accelerator and the fundament for better business, and also better networking and relationship. And it also makes your influencing journey a lot easier. And so maybe with that, I'll take a quick deep dive into influencing and what that means in order to unlock the opportunity. And then we'll kind of walk through how we can actually improve networking, especially in the times of COVID, which I believe could also be a little bit tricky. So next slide, please. Okay, one more. Now, what is influencing? I honestly don't know how interactive the session is, but if someone wants to give a stab at the definition of what influencing is, you're very welcome to. I'll give you maybe I don't know, I'll give you maybe like 5-10 seconds. If anybody wants to join.
You can just unmute yourself and answer if you want to.
Impact.
Impact. I like the word impact. Definitely, influencing is leading to a form of impact. That's correct, but it's not necessarily the ultimate definition of it. It's an outcome.
I would go ahead and say influencing is redirecting some sort of behavior, changing behavior or redirecting behavior.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You can go to the next slide. It's actually that, right? It's the ability to alter another person's thinking or behavior. So really, really spot on. And it's the focus on trying to convey an idea that is close to you to another person's thinking, which may be different, or to another person's thinking, which may have not been shaped yet, right? So if you go to the next slide, there are a couple of core concepts where this becomes really important in terms of influencing. When you think about influencing, because it's a very big word, it's not positive, it's not negative, it's somewhere neutral, but it can easily become one or the other. In order to make sure that influencing is always positive in all your actions that you're doing, and whether that's in business or in your personal life, influencing has to be at all times, has to be consensual, right? The other person has to be willing to be influenced. If the other person says from the beginning straight up, no, I don't, no, there's no point in enforcing your opinion on the other person. It has to be bilateral, right? It has to kind of be giving something to the other person as well. Ideally, it could be, it's almost like a negotiation in that sense. And influencing is very much also situational, right? Not every situation causes for influencing to happen, but in a lot of situations, even in the simplest situations, for example, who's going to drive the car today? Then some people feel like they want to drive the car today. They want to be the driver for the day. So there's some influencing happening there. That is then in that case very situational. Can you go to the next slide? Have you ever thought about what factors to consider when you're influencing? And I know this is very theoretical because we just do this ingrained every day. But if you think about like factors that help you influence more effectively, what would come to mind? And I'm going to give one example. One factor of influencing effectively is you have a goal in mind, right? You want to have an outcome. So that makes your influencing journey more effective. But I don't know if you want to volunteer in this group, but do you have any ideas, any other ideas, what kind of factors to consider when it comes to influencing?
Presentation.
Presentation is great, yeah.
Target audience.
Target audiences. Yeah, target audience is great.
Authenticity.
Authenticity, wonderful.
Experience.
Experience is very well in there as well.
Trustworthy.
Yeah, your trustworthiness, right? That is that's like a fundamental pillar almost.
Consistency. Oh, sorry.
Reliability, consistency. Is this reliability is what I heard?
Yes.
Yeah, reliability, consistency, wonderful. I think these are all great. It wouldn't be a Google presentation if there wasn't a framework. So if you could go to the next slide, I'll show the framework quickly. Cool. So for key factors for influencing effectively, I already mentioned be clear on your influencing goal or goals if there are multiple. Then there's a right mix of power sources and influencing techniques, and I promise that is something that you can take away today from this session in terms of knowing what these power sources are and at least a couple of influencing techniques that will help you. The other one is build and maintain solid, diverse working relationships. So this kind of goes really hand in hand with the networking piece, which could be effectively in helping you or could help you effectively influence someone's opinion. And then lastly, for example, authenticity. that could also fall, for example, into having the right communication styles. Communication could also be verbal, it could be non-verbal. So that's kind of where this falls into as well. I want to spend a little bit of time, because communication and relationships, we're going to cover that in a minute, but I want to spend a little bit of time in terms of power sources. Power sources, you can go to the next slide, is a very important part of it, because there are different power sources that you can tap into. I want to walk you through some of the distinctive power sources that exist. There are two types of power sources that you should always know in terms of buckets. There's personal power sources, and there are organizational power sources. Organizational power sources exist within Google, but they also exist within, for example, if you are a startup, if you are a one-person business, you can still use these organizational power sources as well. One more slide, please. Yeah, one more. If not, I can already talk about it. That's okay. Yeah.
Can you see now? Oh, it stopped sharing. Hold on, give me a second.
That's okay. I have to admit, I sent you a completely different presentation format as to PowerPoint.
Oh, really? Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah, that works. Cool. So personal power sources. There are a couple of things that you can rely on. For example, a personal power source is your knowledge, right? Whether you have knowledge about a particular topic, whether you have knowledge that, for example, is a school degree, things like this are always used as power sources in conversations, right? It's like, hey, I've studied the topic of marketing. I have a PhD in marketing for that I've now held over 5 years or something. That could just really help you in strengthening your position. You have your another power source of your expressiveness, like the way that you communicate, the way that you act in meetings, the way that you make yourself known in meetings. Are you someone that just leans back in meetings and is rather quiet, or do you have good tonality? Are you expressive? Are you vocal about your opinions? That is also a power source, because you can always, for example, veto an idea or provide some feedback, but it makes you seem like an person, for example, that is engaged, and this form people do want to interact with you further. Your history, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, is essentially it's your background that you can use as a personal power source. I can often use in meetings when we go somewhere that I work for Google. I've been working for Google for 7 years. It's a fact of history, but it does help me in terms of my personal power sources. Attraction, that sounds rather blunt, but it somewhat also is, because you can be attracted to the charisma of a person in a meeting too, right? Because you are nicely outspoken, you are respectful, but you could be attracted to that. And so obviously that's a good power source to use as well. And then obviously the same kind of goes with your character, how you act and how you treat other people in meetings. As a next slide is organizational power sources. These are the things, for example, like role, your resources, things that you have access to, which I don't know if you could click to the next slide.
I think it's taking a bit to reflect on your end because
of my phone. That could also be on my internet connection. That is okay. Then yeah. Your role, your resources, your access to information. Some people have different roles in organizations. Google is so huge. We have over 200,000 employees. So people do have expertise in very particular niche fields of our business. And I maybe, for example, have a good knowledge of how to do YouTube marketing. Other teams may not have that knowledge. And this way I may have a power source in terms of influencing when it comes to making use of that information, right? Your network, that kind of ties it back to today's session, is a huge contributor to a power source. The bigger the network, the more power you essentially have. Look into US politics, for example. That I always call that out as a very good example of where a network is a power source, because the more people you know, the more you can make happen. But even in an organization, if you know the VP, if you know the head engineer, this could always lead you down a very good path. And then lastly, your reputation. I think your reputation is also a very big and important source, because you do want to have a positive reputation. People want to know that they can count on you. This kind of goes back to the reliability piece that we talked about earlier. does this, yeah, I was going to have a question on this, but that's okay. You went ahead. That's fine. The most used personal and organizational power sources, as you don't know if you knew that, are character and are your network reputation. So again, I do want to call out the piece around network, because that is just one of the most important parts. People make their network count whenever they can in terms of this influencing journey. So that's why if you build trust, if you have a good network, and you're really good at influencing or making your voice heard, all these three buckets sort of kind of go together in running a successful business or conducting business also successfully, but not just even business, even your personal and in your personal life. Now, with network being so important, I did want to spend a little bit of time on networking and kind of give a couple thought starters on what you can do, especially in times of COVID, because obviously networking events are not necessarily something that is happening right now with all the restrictions. And it doesn't make it as easy as some would hope, like going to events or anywhere else. So, but what are some solutions that you can actually do? Uju, I don't know if you could go to the slide, a couple slides forward, one more. Cool. In terms of networking, even in times like these, which are completely unprecedented, there are still things that you can do, which is like basics actually matter, right? The easiest way is to connect with people that you know, whether you do that by through LinkedIn. I think that's the easiest way, is because you can just connect with friends, acquaintances, colleagues, ex-colleagues, and classmates. But you could also reach out to these old colleagues and friends through other forms of social media that exist. But I think from a purpose of business networking, LinkedIn is your very best bet on that. And it's just as easy as connecting. If you go to My Network, I think on LinkedIn, it also offers the ability to find people that you've worked with in the past that you can easily connect with. But I think that is the starting point. It costs absolutely nothing except a couple minutes, I guess, of your time to connect with other individuals. So I think this is a really good starting point. Number two is, you can go to the next slide, is take your chats online. So it's, reconnect with contacts. And I also said in brackets, even if it has been forever. I think there's still benefit in just catching up. How are you? How have you been? And I think I'm personally, for me, it's always, it's tough too. I would never call myself the perfect networker, because it can be a lot of work. It can be a burden. I have a baby at home. I still have a full-time job that I have to do every single day. And so then to also reach out and chat with people and network with people can be tough. However, I do try to make the time to build industry relationships, especially with people that post and share interesting either insights or projects that they're working on that I find that I want to engage and provide feedback to, right? That is, for me, that's a very important part. So remember, you don't necessarily always have to have a chat going or connect to be networking. Networking could also just be commenting on things that you find interesting. It could just be even sharing a like to someone. It's the earliest indicator of networking, but it starts right there, right? If you don't do that, then you probably don't do anything else either. That's why I think liking, commenting on interesting insights could be a really good starting point in terms of digital networking. Next slide. The other thing is building a presence, and it's not necessarily a must, but it's definitely nice to have. I'm sure that this group, and again, thanks for sharing your feedback earlier on some of my questions, but I believe you sit on a wealth of insights and good experiences yourself. And I think that's always something that is useful and that can be shared in the world of social media. And I'm speaking mainly about LinkedIn in terms of a business context. But there's an opportunity to build your personal brand. What do you stand for? What does your business stand for? What are the insights that you sit on? What are the insights that you can share? And most importantly, what are the insights that your audience can connect with? And you can kind of see how this kind of goes together, right? You're starting to build your network by befriending friends, colleagues, old classmates, building a close bubble of people that you have interacted with, but people know people. And so the message, so to say, spreads from there. If you build a personal presence and a personal brand within your existing network, people may share your messages, people may share your insights, and that may reach other people that then connect with you and just so has the opportunity to grow your network. But again, I want to call out, it's really important to share things that are from your personal experience, that are important to you, and things that are meaningful to you, because I think nobody likes posts without any sense or any personal connection to it. And I did that in the beginning too, when I started posting stuff on Twitter, especially when I was in my younger 20s. I just reposted stuff. That didn't necessarily help me very much back in the day. And so now I try to just be a little bit more thoughtful with the messages that I send out. Same with LinkedIn. I work in the movie industry in Canada. So what I do is I post a lot of posts in terms of movie related content, things that Google does in the movie industry. These are the types of things that I post on LinkedIn, and where I try to build my audience and followership amongst my followers, but also amongst the people that I'm connected with. And then next slide is engage your network. So you're successfully connected. You can also ask your network for support and opinions, right? It's a very interesting method in terms of posting content. There's actually just two ways you can post content, in my opinion. It's to push out insights that I mentioned previously are important to your personal brand, insights that you would like to share and that are meaningful. Or number two, what you can do is you can ask for insights, you can ask for comments, you can ask for feedback, you can ask for feedback on your business and engage people that way, right? By bringing people in for their feedback and their opinions, you're also able to build a network in the digital space, which you can rely on, and a network that keeps being engaged on your posts and you as a person. So asking for any sort of opinions could be very helpful in that way, and in terms of networking as well. Next slide, please. All right. I put that in here because I think it's just important to call this out. A network isn't built in a day. Really, it takes time and consistency. And by time, it's really not just a week. It takes years. In the Philippines, it took me. I was in the Philippines 2 years. It took me almost a year and a couple months to build a very successful network over there. Same, obviously, in Germany and Canada. It really does take time, but make yourself known by building a presence, by reaching out to people, by engaging with friends, by posting insightful comments. And obviously, in a world without COVID, the best thing is that you can do is engage in terms of events, join any sort of community events that are going on, and just continue building a network from there. But again, it takes time and consistency. So keep at it, don't give up, and stay focused on it. Cool. And then next slide, please. I think I only have exactly 3 more slides, but we're good on time. Once we've thought a little bit about, obviously, influencing, having a goal in mind, how your network kind of becomes very important in your influencing journey and in your business journey. We talked a little bit about how you can grow your network, especially in times during COVID. The last thing, I kind of want to bring it back to influencing, because networking is, like, for me, a sub part of this influencing journey. Is now you have a good network. Now you sort of know your power sources in terms of how you can be a good influencer. The last part is, what are actually some techniques that you could use in terms of influencing your customers, your business relationships, but also what are some influencing techniques you could use, for example, at networking events, to be a better influencer. And we can go to the next slide. I do want to call out that no one is perfect of every single influencing technique that exists. However, there are a couple of influencing techniques just to think about when it comes to your personal journey. And maybe from a reflective standpoint, it's good to know what you are really good at already, and maybe there's something that you say, well, this seems kind of interesting to me. I want to improve in that particular influencing technique myself. I'm not seeing the next slide yet, but I can start. Yeah, thank you. And sorry, I'm on my phone, so this is really like a wild presentation, but I hope this works. In terms of influencing techniques, so there are a couple positive ones, right? The biggest one is logical persuading. So you can rely on logic, right? Whatever becomes the logical argument, whether that's the price, whether that's this is good for your health, right? There's something logical that you can use to persuade the other person's opinion. That's a very common and frequently used influencing technique that is very successful. What, in terms of socializing, this is, again, a lot of people will try to influence you at social events. So when we have events with our clients, and that's why obviously we at Google will do a lot of events. We go to client dinners. We what else do? We have annual events, annual YouTube events that we bring our clients to, and then we socialize after over a glass of wine and some snacks. But you know, a lot of business gets done during socializing instead over email, and so it's a very important part of influencing, because you can use a glass of wine and just like chit chatter to at least bring up a couple of topics that are important to you. Stating is, I'm German, so for me stating becomes sometimes very stereotypical, because I can just say, this is the way it is, as direct as I can be, and that's why we should do it, right? And the North American culture, in some cases, also lived and studied in the US, in Utah, but I learned very early on that we sugarcoat a lot of the arguments that we're making just to make it really pleasant for the other person and make their decision process a bit easier. And in the German culture, at least the way that I grew up, in some cases we just stated. My teacher would often come to me and be like, yo, Willie, this was not great. This is a D- in your math test, and this is just how it is. There was no sugarcoating in any of it. And so I've been very accustomed to that way of influencing. I do want to call out that it doesn't always go well with the other party, because the other party needs to be either acquainted to you or needs to know you very well before you can just like state your facts out clearly of what you want. Appealing to the relationship, to me, that's the last resort in business, because I don't want to rely on my relationship, and I don't want to put my relationship at the risk just by appealing to our relationship to get something done. So if everything else fails, I have stated my opinions, we socialized, I used logical persuading in terms of bringing, for example, more investment to YouTube, and everything goes wrong and the client doesn't decide to do it, I can always appeal to the relationship, like, look, I've known you like for 3 years now. I know we want to grow our businesses together, but this is really important to us. Can you really, really help me? Then that's maybe a case of appealing to the relationship. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a negative thing to do. It's just know your arsenal of influencing techniques and weapons that you want to use. For me, this is more at the bottom of my arsenal. And then lastly, in terms of influencing techniques, consulting, this is the way that Google sells. We often use consulting. We use data, we use insights to convey information and to have decisions being made on the client side. So that's essentially as easy as consulting, just using data and means to convey information. And then lastly, I'll literally spend a minute on this. Some negative techniques I just want to call out. You can go to the next slide. Exactly. Kindly don't do this when it comes to influencing your counterparts, your business. Avoiding ghosting, things like that, where you just don't deal with the situation. It's not great. Threatening the other business partner is not working. I've been in this situation now 2 times where I've been threatened and intimidated in business, as Google too, which is really fun in terms of negotiation styles. But in the Philippines, as an example, we were signing a deal and the agency that I was working with was extremely unhappy with the conditions and said that if we do not get to a solution by tomorrow, we will spend $0 with Google over the next year. And that would have been a severe business impact on our teams and on my own portfolio as well. So we had to come up with some solutions. In the end, it worked out in terms of we kind of appealed to the relationship and made a little bit of magic happen in between to get to a solution. But it's not easy to get out of the threatening situation in terms of business. Intimidating, manipulating are also both not great because they're just not fruitful techniques. And do remember that none of these strategies build any trust or any good business relationships, which will benefit your network in the long run. And so with that, I kind of did the speed session of otherwise a very long presentation, but I hope that this was useful for the topic that we're discussing today. But I believe, and I'm a very big believer of that your relationships, your influencing and trust, they kind of go all hand in hand. You can do a lot with a great network, but you need to be a good person or you need to be a good trust builder, and you also need to be a good influencer to make use of your network. And so everything kind of goes hand in hand. And with that, I would say that I cruise through this as much as I can so that I can make my 7 o'clock deadline.
Thank you so much. This is very, very packed and very impactful. Thank you. I know we have roughly 12 minutes, so we're just going to open the floor now to questions. So ladies, please, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask them. I would start with some that I received. Someone said once trust, yes, you did mention a lot about trust and influence, but once trust is broken, how can that be repaired to maintain influence?
That's a good question. You can always, and that's why I go back to the formula that we shared earlier about credibility plus reliability plus intimacy. Once trust is broken, you can rebuild trust by focusing on your credibility, reliability, and your intimacy. Meaning, dependent what is broken, right? You have to where you're not credible enough, where you're not reliable, or did you break trust in terms of sharing secrets that you were not supposed to share, where business information that you were not supposed to share. That takes time, but you have to consistently prove out that one of these elements, credibility, reliability, or intimacy, for example, that is something that you're improving on, and show the other party that. Right? That has to be consistent. If you don't do any of the 3 things, or within those 3 things that you broke, you likely won't be able to repair a broken relationship in terms of trust.
Amazing. I'm just going to build on that question because I know she asked based on a personal brand, but what about from a business point of view when a trust is broken between a business and their customers?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the business, right? But I think if I break trust with my customers, first of all, I need to own up to it too. I'd be like, look, this is on me. I messed this up. I didn't deliver this product in time. Then you're probably also in a position where you want to offer the customer something of value to the other party, so that you can give yourself a chance to repair that. Right? For example, look, if I was going to build on this reliability piece, but I didn't deliver this in time. I can deliver this by the end of this week. And I'll be sure to give you, I don't know, it's a really stupid example, but I'll be sure to give you free shipping, or I give you some sort of value on top to make up for this. This is really easy put now because every business is different and everybody deals with complex challenges. But and somebody would say own up to the issue that was created and try to rebuild the trust by focusing on exactly what was broken, plus delivering some value on top of that.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We have one from Kadeen, and she says, what is the best way to connect with someone that you don't know virtually to build trust and relationship, considering we're in COVID world?
Yeah, so not easy. I agree. I think the digital world makes things a bit creepy too, especially if you, for example, connect with someone and then you just like message them, it's like, hey, what's up? It can be a little bit strange at times to understand that too. but it's all about the opening, right? So I think it's still fair to connect with people that you want to connect with and be like, look, I look up to you, you're very insightful, I've learned a lot from you, or I want to learn a lot from you, or you're really interesting to me as a business leader, or we work in the same businesses, would love to learn more from you. But again, it's these type of questions, this type of conversation starter that you want to have with the other person that you want to connect with. But very similar to what I think Michelle was saying earlier, is if you make a comment to someone who just gave a presentation and the person asks you, what did you like? Be prepared to answer that question. And I think the same goes for the digital world as well. Know why you want to connect to this person is what I would say.
Awesome. This question is mine. I know you shared a few techniques with influencing, and you highlighted that your least favorite is relying on relationships. So which would you say is the most effective way of building that influencing muscle?
To be honest, it 100% depends on who you are as a person. I think that's really important to call out. There's different things that work with you. I did at Google, we did like personality tests and everything. So I'm, as my shirt, I'm very yellow, means I'm also very socially outgoing. I can be both. I can be extroverted and introverted depending on the day. But in my business, I always need to be extroverted. So what I'm trying to say is, for me, the best way to influence is through socializing and having a good time with my clients. And secondly, with consulting, because that's also my job, to consult on media strategy. But the best way for me is to do that through socializing and just having a good time, making the clients laugh and just talking about something else that is just business sometimes. But that long point being made here, not everyone is that way, right? So other people, and I think we mentioned that in the beginning as well, more introverted. So networking can become a daunting task if you're introverted. And so becomes the idea of influencing. You can rely on logical persuasion. You can rely on stating. You can still rely on consulting, because these are very factual based influencing styles that still fit, for example, an introverted lifestyle.
That's interesting. So I guess it depends on your personality to see which technique will work the best for you. I personally, I think I'm a logical persuader or consultant over time, persuading them.
What I would say is, and it's good for you to know what you use most common. And I think in retrospect, I think it's very easy to analyze that. What I would urge everybody in this group is to think about another influencing style or technique that you would want to try in the future and build your repertoire, because it's good to rely on different influencing techniques rather than just one only.
Oh, that's a good tip. Thank you. I should explore socializing more. Okay, we have 2 more questions, so we just breeze through it so we can keep you on the 7 o'clock deadline. What are the characteristics of a good network? How do I know that I have a good network? That's from Hussein.
Yeah, that's also a good question. Good network is people that you can rely on for opinions, people that help you shape your business or your knowledge, people that you learn from. There's this saying that you become like your 5 best friends, right? Like if your 5 best friends are successful, likely you're going to be successful as well. I believe the same somewhat goes for your network as well. Your network, at least in the digital world as well, influences you through insights, posts that are being shared. You want your network foremost to be a positive one. You want your network to be an influential one. And you want your network to be a network that you can learn from every single day. Because I think that's important for your own personal growth. And at the same time, it's important to also just like use a network to grow yourself. Exactly.
Fantastic. We have one from Francesca, and she says, do you have any tips on any influencing tips via blogging?
Via blogging. And does this refer, for example, I don't know if this refers to, for example, blogging business or in general, but I think influencing, whether we think of it often as a verbal exercise, but it doesn't have to be a verbal exercise. It can very often also be a blogging exercise. It's the same way, right? These techniques apply to blogging as well. if you want to convey your audience of something, you can use some of these techniques, not all of them, because obviously it can socialize, but it is how you write your blog. Is it an engaging blog that engages your audience? And then again, it can so many facets, components to this. Who's your audience? Is your audience an audience that wants to be entertained before the audience is persuaded or influenced? Is it an audience that you can just be very factual with right from the beginning? That's just something to think of. That's why I find this question not that easy to answer, because it depends on who your core audience really is. But depending on your core audience, match the blog to their desire and your influencing journey to their desire. So if you want them to buy something, but you know they need a little bit of fluff, give them a little bit of fluff, and then convert them to buy whatever they need to buy, for example.
Awesome. We have 2 minutes. We're just going to rapidly answer this last one.
Okay.
This is from Kara, and she says, how do you reach out to someone you don't know personally but would like to be interested in exploring a partnership? For instance, if they don't respond to emails or LinkedIn invites.
Yeah, that's tough, right? Because if you want to reach out to someone you want to have a partnership with, but they don't respond, they basically avoiding you in some way or another. I don't find that easy to answer, because you can only do the wrong things by becoming. It doesn't help you to just like connect, because people's going to, okay, cool, no, this is a bit too much for me. I think it's okay to back off for a while and return again back at a later point. Essentially, I don't know, give it a little bit of a breather time. It's like, hey, I tried reaching out to you a month ago, didn't hear back for you. Really interested in what you offer. That's number one. Or number two is you could write another email or LinkedIn message, but really stating your interest of what you want to do. And again, these influencing techniques, so to say, work right into that as well, right? How do you influence this person to reply to you? Think about that. Is this a person that, what do you know about this person? This is another thing I would ask myself. Is this person someone that is more outgoing? Is this a person that is very high level, very senior, maybe gets too many messages? How do I make myself stand out? That's essentially what comes to mind, or is top of mind for me right now. But it's really like, try to understand who this person is. Is there something that you can write in your email to engage with that person? If all of that is off the table, try to reach out again in a month. Write your message differently, and again, try to figure out how you can sort of stand out in terms of your messaging of what you're trying to accomplish.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't want to keep you. This is exactly 7 p.m., so I don't want to keep you from.
No, I'm looking inside, so it's like.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate this. We're already having ladies asking if they can have the deck, so I will share to everyone. So thank you so much. I will touch base again with you later, but happy holidays and best regards to your family.
Thank you very much. Thanks all for having me. I wish you all best of luck in your journey, wherever you're on. And if you want to reach out, I added my contact details in the deck as well. So if you do want to build a network with me, there you go. My LinkedIn details are in there, and I do try to respond and not avoid over email. So there you go. Happy holidays, everybody.
All right.
And all the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. This has been incredible. Thank you so much, everyone, for engaging. This was really fantastic. And in answer to your question, Kara, if the person doesn't respond, you can also highlight or check for shared contacts. Maybe there's somebody you know that also knows the person, and then you can leverage that relationship to get that other person. It has worked for me one too many times. So yeah, you could try that. So now our next speaker, very special, is I should share my screen again. Just give me 1 second. Oh no. Okay, our next speaker is, drum rolls, Velma Morgan. She is the chairperson at Operation Black Canada. Velma has experience in creating and implementing policies and programs in the provincial government for over 10 years. Her recent work in government included working on the highly successful Pan American Games, the creation of the province sports plan, and the creation and passing of two legislations. That's the Ontario Immigration Act and Ontario Black History Month. She co-organized the first Black Political Leader Summit in Nova Scotia. Now, as chair of the Operation Black Vote Canada, the role she currently occupies, she is the co-architect of the 1834 Fellowship and the architect of the first ever Black Community Provincial Leaders Debate, Black Women's Political Summit, and Next Generation Political Summit. So please join me in welcoming Velma Morgan. She is no stranger to our program. She was here the first cohort. She's back here. She's always been an incredible support. So Velma, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thanks you for that introduction. As you said, I've been at almost all of the trainings. Definitely the last time around I was at everyone, and this one I think I've missed 2 or 3. And I don't have a small business, but I come to support VBPA and Nadine and all the Black entrepreneurs that are here. In a sense, I'm actually networking because as part of Operation Black Vote Canada, we do a lot of things where we need a lot of services. So I do know that we have a copy editor here, we have an event planner, somebody who sells candles, and every time you put your email address or your website into the chat, I actually take a picture of it because I know at some point I'm going to have to call on you to do something for us. And when I do that, the first thing I want to say is I met you at the BBPA Boss event, and that would be my for my network. A little bit about my background. Yes, she talks about my political involvement, but I'm also in education. We don't do much networking in education, but we do a lot of networking in politics. When I worked as a political staff, we would do 5 or 6 events a day, meeting with stakeholders. And many of those stakeholders were business people. Unfortunately, I didn't see many Black businesses. And within those Black businesses, I didn't see many women who were in business. So part of my plug is to engage the government, go to networking events that the governments are doing, whether it's receptions. I know when we're able to meet again, provincially and federally, the political parties always have a Black History Month event. Go to those events and make some kind of effort to engage the government. During pre-budget consultations, go to those events as well. So for some people, networking is a dirty word or scary. People don't want to be considered a networker because it seems as if you're trying to get something from somebody. However, we know that networking brought in our business, brought in our business network. It introduces you and your businesses to new people, and it keeps you uniform on trends. So I'm going to be hopeful. So my presentation is really going to be about when we're able to have those gatherings again, when we're able to meet in person again, because it's going to happen. I'm going to read 2 quotes.
Velma, would you like to share your screen, or you're fine with that?
It's not a PowerPoint, so
okay. All right.
You create one and send it so you can have it. So I have 2 quotes about networking. Business network is a process of establishing a mutual beneficial relationship with other business people and potential clients or customers. And the second quote is from the Harvard Business Review. Nadine talked about Harvard earlier. Research shows that professional research shows that professional networks lead to more jobs and business opportunities, broader, deeper knowledge, improved capacity to innovate, foster advancement, and greater status and authority. Building and nurturing professional relationships also improves the quality of work and increased job satisfaction. And that's from the Harvard Business Review. So if you want your business to grow, if you want to introduce more people into your circle, then you have to go out to where they are, and that's through networking. So I just created some tips from networking based on my experience working for government where people were trying to come to events to speak with me or speak with my colleagues. And also how I've used network for our organization, Operation Black Vote, or just for personal gain. So some of the tips are, and some of these things Nadine mentioned, and I was like cringing when she was going through her slides because I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, that's my presentation. But she did mention them all. One is to have a goal. Why are you attending? Are you attending for business? Are you attending to just hang out for social? Is there somebody there that you want to meet? Always set a goal. I'm going to leave with 4 or 5 business cards. I'm going to speak to so many people when I'm there. And there have been times when we are going to do an event and I've been trying to get a hold of somebody and emails are not working. And then, the heavens open up and they're going to be at an event, either speaking as a keynote speaker or on a panel. And I think to myself, okay, so I'm going to go to that event. And my one goal is to introduce myself to this person, tell them about Operation Black Vote, and say, you know what, we would love to invite you to XYZ. 8 times out of 10, I've met them and they've come to our events. So always go in with a purpose, always go in with a goal. And as Nadine said, you can always look to see who's going to be there. And are the people that you want to meet, how is it going to benefit your company? How is it going to benefit you? The second one is to dress the part. Now, I've been to events where it was a business event and somebody came in a gown because they didn't know what the event was. If the dress code isn't on the invitation, what I usually do, I would go to the website to see if they've had this event before. And if they've had the same event before, just look at the pictures. So for instance, if I get invited to the Harry Jerome Awards and I don't know, is it business casual? What is it? Well, how do I dress? I would go to the BBPA website, go to the Harry Jerome Awards and see the pictures from the past Harry Jerome Awards to see how people are dressed. That would give me an indication of how to dress. Because you do want to be taken seriously. And if you're not dressed appropriately for the event, people will think, well, why is that person dressed this way or not dressed right? So always dress appropriately. Nadine talked about this before, your elevator speech, always have it ready. So when you go to networking events, people always ask you what brings you here. It might be because you just know the host. It might be because you're interested in the topic. And then they might ask you about yourself. So always have your elevator speech. So I go to events, someone says, hi, Velma, how are you? What brings you? I'm like, well, I came here because Justin Trudeau was going to speak here, and I run an organization called Operation Black Vote Canada, and our goal is to get more Black people elected to political office. So I thought it'd be a great event to come to. So right there, I'm not hesitating. I just have my elevator speech. Rehearse it in the mirror, rehearse it on a tape so it sounds proper, and don't use any kind of industry jargon when you're explaining it yourself and what you do, because half the time if someone's using that kind of jargon to me, I totally tune out and I'm looking around to see how can I make my exit to somebody else. Another very important thing is business cards. So I'm just going to show you all these. These are all my business holders. I have about 6 of them. I have them in coats that I wear often. I have them in my purse. And I walk around with them all the time and I make sure they're filled. Because what you don't want to do is go to the event and somebody is talking to you and they're interested in what you have to say and you have no business cards. Even worse, what I've seen, and the reason why I have business cards holders, because I know exactly where my business cards are. I'm not running through my purse, trying to go to the bottom to try to find a business card. I've seen people go through their wallet and they're taking up business cards and like, that's not mine. That's not mine. They have everybody's business cards in there, but their own. And I'm just standing there waiting like, okay, do you want me to just write on a piece of paper? So at least we have a business card holder. You know that your business card is in there. If I'm wearing a suit, I usually keep this in my suit pocket. And I usually would have another one in my bag somewhere, just in case. I always have lots of business cards. And then business cards are, and I guess you could talk to Nadine about this, the branding of your business cards. I've seen business cards where I looked at it and I didn't know the tails or ends of it. It's just busy, it's crazy, has several different logos on it. Our business card is very simple. On the back, it has our logo. On the front, it has our logo and my name and the chair. It's very easy. And there's white space here. And the reason why I wanted a lot of white space on my business card is because whenever I go out and I get a business card from somebody, I do a couple of things in a conversation. So after we have our conversation, I would actually jot down some notes on the business card to say, you know, Donna, plumbing, or, you know, so-and-so, event planning. So I can remember what they do and why I wanted them. Now, if I want to do business with somebody and I really want to stay in touch with them, what I usually would do is I'll fold the tip of the business card. So I know when I get home that this is someone that not only do I'm interested in, but I really want to remember them. I want to send them a note. Okay, exit and entry. So sometimes people just don't know, how do I start a conversation? And most times you'll see people are talking, people just come up and people open the circle and you're able to have a conversation with somebody. I usually go to events with another person. And when I go to events with another person, I tell them I'm going with you, but I'm not staying with you. Because what tends to happen is people will go to an event and they're just staying with the person that they went with, and they're not working the room. And you don't want to bring that person all the time to work your room. So I'll say to them, we're going together, we'll leave together, but I have a plan, I have a goal. I need to speak to so-and-so, I need to meet this person or that person. Let's meet at the bar at a certain time, or let's meet someplace at a certain time. But my job really is, I have a task to work the room. When I introduce myself, I say my first and my last name. Hi, I'm Velma Morgan, and I put my hand out to shake their hands. When they introduce themselves, I try to listen very attentively because I want to get their name right. If I don't hear, I'll say, "Can you say that again?" And then during my conversation, I try to say their names at least twice while we're having a conversation. If they're wearing a name tag, even better, because their name's right there. I don't have to memorize it. But I try to remember the name and say at least twice in our conversation. And then the way to exit it. I usually will say something like, I'm going to get a drink. Do you want something? They always say no. No one's ever said to me, yeah, get me a so-and-so. They've always said no. And that's my exit. Or I'll say, oh, there's so-and-so. I haven't seen them in a while. I'm just going to go say hi. And I make my exit. Because sometimes it's kind of hard. How do we exit from each other? People in the room. So I always try to meet, how do I say this? Usually when I go to events, I will know at least a quarter of the people in the room. I don't really need to talk to those people because I know them. I'll say hi. A lot of them are my friends. We could talk after. My job is to meet new people. So I try to spend most of my time with people who I don't know. People who might be something totally opposite of me. I try to meet those people and have a conversation with them, because those are the people who will bring in new ideas into your business or into your organization. My friends, we're like-minded. We run in the same circle. We speak the same language. It's not much more you can offer me. But new people who think totally different, who don't know me, don't have the same type of friends as I do, will be able to give me different ideas. That's something I've never even thought of because they're just so different. If I have my friends with me too, and they know people that I don't know, I ask them to introduce me to them, and I do the same to them. I introduce them to others as well. In speaking to people, as they say, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen attentively, nod, smile, but don't nod too much. I have a friend who, whenever I'm speaking to him, he's just nodding. And he nods at the inappropriate times. I'm like, you're not really even listening to me. You're just like, really listen to the person, and, pleasant face. And that's important for Black women. People tend to say that we don't have that. We have that B face all the time. Try to have a pleasant face, warm, friendly, as they say, and, ask questions about them, their businesses. Really, you want them to feel as if they are important, because you're the one who's approaching them. Listen to them attentively and ask about themselves. Ask them about themselves. or their businesses or their business. So after you leave the event, you're not done yet. You're not done. You do the follow-ups. So what I usually try to do is I do the follow-up that night. Even though I'm tired, when I come home, I have my business, I have the cards, all the business cards. And I also will put the event that I met them at. So I can remember, because sometimes when I was in government, I was doing 2 or 3 events a night, or 4 events a night, or 5 a day. So I would actually write on it like what event it was, so I could remember. So I would say, you know, hi, Julie, remember we met earlier today at blah, 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 blah. It was great meeting with you. I want to keep in touch. The people who I have the folded card, it's more than I want to keep in touch. I would love to have coffee with you. Do you have time to meet? Do you have a time for a chat? Because those are people who I want to talk to urgently about something, or I want to get them to partner or sponsor something for me. So they get a different message than the people who I just want to say, acknowledge that we met, because I might need you some way down the line. So I want to acknowledge. These people I want to meet right away, either face to face or on the well, now Zoom. And then I do one other thing. I check if they're on social media. Sometimes their card, like my card, would have all the social media links, and I would go and follow them all on Instagram or Twitter. That's all I have. I don't have the others. But if you have Facebook and you have LinkedIn, yes, go and follow them on that as well. And as Willie said, you know, like if they post something that fits your brand, like it, maybe respond to something that they said. If they post, because sometimes they'll post a picture of the event that you're at, make a comment, say, yeah, this was a great event. It was great meeting you there, or something like that. So there's a connection there. Finally, I have one quote, one of my favorite quotes, and that is, it's not who you know, who knows you. So a lot of people like to say, well, I know so-and-so, I know so-and-so. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But if I went to so-and-so, would so-and-so say that they know you, right? So it's not who you know, who knows you. And the only way people are going to get to know you is through networking and following up and keeping in touch. And that's my presentation.
Thank you so much, Velma. This is very, very insightful, and I could relate to a lot of the things that you said, especially about, you know, just following up. I remember, you know, many people don't know, and I don't know if she remembers. Hi, Nadine. So I just went just after my post grad, and I don't like to be idle. I like to keep my head busy, and I was doing something with a few clients in real estate, and they connected me they gave me Velma's contact, and they said, reach out to her, maybe speak to her. And then I reached out to Velma, and then I had a conversation with Velma, and she also then connected me to Nadine, and that's how we got to working together. So that entire long chain, and it just really showed me the power of not just networking and following up, but really just leveraging whichever, like the contacts that because you never know who would really add value to you. If I didn't know that person I was doing some work with in real estate would connect me to Velma, you know, just and also keeping an open mind. I have one question though, and I think I have a question for you, Velma. So in a case where you've connected, and I think this question a lot of people on this call, when you've connected to people, you've done networking, you've followed up, and maybe once or twice they have you know, responded to you as well. How do you ensure that how do you ensure you're adding value to them instead of you just taking from them?
Yeah, it all depends on what industry they're in, or what they do. So for instance, getting people to come and speak for us, I do that a lot. And then I also recommend them. So if someone's saying, you know, I need a speaker for XYZ, I say, oh, I know somebody. They spoke at our event after I tracked them down. And, you know, and a lot of speakers will charge, right? So that person's making income by speaking. So I always do recommendations as well. And I make sure that when I do recommendation, I will call the person and say, you know, so-and-so wants you to come and speak at their event. Can I do an email introduction? I never just cold do an email introduction, because sometimes people don't want other people to have their email. And I might have your personal email and not realize that this is a personal one and not a work one. And so I always ask first if I can make that email connection, and then I make the connection. So I also help them to broaden their network as well.
That's awesome. Also, in this time of COVID, nobody's meeting anybody anywhere for coffee, everyone's going on Zoom. How do you think we can do better in terms of networking? I mean, we don't have opportunities to share cards. We can make that in-person personality transfer where they can feel us. Like, how can we really leverage Zoom to make sure that our networking game is as tight as possible? I mean, 2021 is coming, so. Yes.
So that's interesting, because I've done a lot of Zoom calls. The BBPA and Operation Black Belt, we've done a lot of calls with political leaders just to talk about funding for the Black community. And on those calls, I may know half the people on the call, but I may not know a lot of other people. And what I do is I do a private chat. So we're sitting here and I'm thinking, well, you just said something I like, or you know, whatever. So I'm just doing a private chat. Hey, this is Velma. You know, I just liked what you said. I would love to connect with you after. And they always send me their email address. And then I just write them an email saying it was great, you know, talking, whatever. And we connected almost with everybody that I've done a private message to. We've connected after. And this is just through Zoom. And I just, you know, use the functions on Zoom and utilize them as your network. So instead of me walking up to you, talking to you, I'm doing a private chat with you.
That's
and
amazing.
I always send my email first. Say, this is my email if you want to get in contact with me. And they always will say, yeah, this is my email too, or my number.
That's great. I should try that and just, you know, chat people up on Zoom when I hear them speak something.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are such great points. So I'm home cooking. I'm making shrimp and rice. But you know, Velma, I love everything, so much of what you had to say. One is the exit. And I'm always worried about, how do I leave this conversation? It's going on. It's just too long. And not only that, but you want to sort of, you know, get around to other people. So I love that. I'm going to use that. But I think the most important thing, and you've said a lot of great things, but it's not who you know, it's who knows you, you know, and we have to remember that and leave that impression. And then finally, to your business card, always, when we design, I always tell clients two things. One, design in more than 12-point font if you can on your card. 12-point font is the absolute minimum, because remember, most of the decision maker are going to be my age, 30, and they're going to be older. And so we have challenges seeing the cards. So you don't want to have all your information, especially your email address, in small font. They just can't see. And you want to leave space on the card, white space, so people can write. I think that's a great tip. And I love your tip about folding the cards. What I do is I rate everyone from, you know, 0, or to 3+. So 3+ are the ones I have to respond to immediately. It's a system I keep, and we sort of do that follow-up. And then, of course, the follow-up is key. So Velma, great points. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, this is our full circle moment, because how I met Uju, I reached out to you and I said, Velma, we're looking for someone. And you introduced me to Uju, and here we are. So thank you. That's great.
Yes, thank you. I do, funny enough, because I like the color black, and so when I see people with black cards, I'm usually just drawn to those cards, and okay, I want to do black cards. But then your comment about, I never thought about, you know, just having that white space so people could write, you know. So imagine an all black card, and I want to write, and I can't see what I'm writing. So great team. Thank you so much, Velma. One last question someone sent to me just while you were about to start is also related to influencing and networking. Like, what would you say, is there a difference there, one? And two, I know there's a thin line between influencing and manipulating. How would you advise not to be sure not to cross that line?
So networking is basically you're getting to meet people, right? You're bringing more people, you're getting to know more people, you bring more people into your circle. So that's networking. And Willie talked about influencing, and influencing is basically changing people's mind or behavior. when you're networking, you're not really trying to change people's minds or behavior. In fact, I want you to stay the way you are if I'm networking with you, because I want you to help me with my business or with my organization. And I may not have your skill set a part of my business organization. So I want to have your business, your skill set. So I think they're totally two different things. And manipulating and influencing. So Willie talked about when you influence, it has to be consensual. I think if it's not consensual, then you are manipulating. Right? You know, if the person is not saying, okay, yes, I agree, you know, then I think you're manipulating. I think if you get to the point of threatening, that's also, you know, they're not consensual and you're threatening them, then you're manipulating them.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have Claudia. You raised your hand. You have a question, Claudia?
Yes, I did. A comment or a compliment. I too loved that suggestion about the business card. And I wonder, do you think it would be too forward if when I meet someone, as I'm giving them my business card, I could fold my business card for them so that that'll stand out when they're going through their business cards as well?
I don't know. So that's
laughing.
That's my method, right? So, I mean, it'll get. I guess when they got home, it would like, why is this folded? And they will look at it again, but they may not know what it means. That's my method. Nadine has another method where she numbers everything. Yeah. Yeah, and also I'm reading a book on diplomacy, which is interesting because the Chinese, the business card is so important to them that they actually will present the business card using two hands. And you're supposed to receive it with both hands, and you should not put it in your back pocket. You put it in your pocket in your purse, because putting it in the back pocket, you're sitting on them, their businesses. And I've been to a lot of events, especially with the Chinese consulate, and you'll see that the whole gesture of presenting the business card and don't take it with one hand, because that's insulting. And different cultures have different ways of doing the business card. Business card is something that's universal that everybody does, but for them, it's their business, is their office that they're bringing to you. And so the way you receive it is you have to receive it in a very particular way. So I wouldn't bend it in front of them. So.
But that's a good one, Claudia. Like, just fold it. When they get home, they're like, who's this? And then they're forced to do it again. Good one.
Some people will also do size, and Nadine can talk about this, but some people will do a different size card or the thickness of the card. And I've seen that where I've gone through my cards and the card feels a bit heavier. I'm like, whoa, okay. It makes you look at it, or the size is a bit smaller. So it's not uniform as all the other business cards. So it does stand out, the size and the weight.
Yeah, exactly, Velma. One of the things that I remember meeting a woman 5 years after I'd done a presentation, and she still had my business card because it was an oversized card that the stock was like very heavy and was big, bold, bright orange. And she said, of all the cards, I kept this. And, you know, when I used to do a lot of work in New York, we would have like our wall would be pink, because in New York, you have to stand out, and our business cards would match the wall. So it left an impression. Big, bold colors do that. So you always want to think about how you're going to have your business card in a way where they're going to remember you and they don't want to throw it out. So you don't want to do just a general basic business card.
And please don't make the business cards on your own through Microsoft, whatever.
Absolutely not. They get thrown away.
Ultra printer.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah. Natasha made a comment about having your picture on the card. What do you think about that?
I personally don't like it. I think a lot of people who are in real estate do that. And they do that, I guess, for a reason. I'll defer that to Nadine as a branding person. I actually think that's tacky, but I'll refer that to Nadine.
You know, it all depends. If the photo is fabulous, and you have to be it has to be designed proper. There aren't many that I've seen that's done really well. I don't know if I've got 2 examples, you know, and if you don't do it well, it will be really tacky. You would have to start with a great photo, you know, at get-go. I haven't seen one yet that I think this is the example.
And also, I think if it's part of your branding, right? If you are your branding, if you're selling yourself, then maybe yes. Yeah. But if you're selling candles, like, why would you put your photo on the business card, it's one candles. I think,
Exactly.
I think it has to be something where you are, if you're a model, right, you might want to put your, you know, your picture on it. I can't think of, except for, I know realtors do it because there's face recognition, they have it on their signs as well.
And some shouldn't do it. And some shouldn't
Yeah.
do it.
Some do it.
You know?
Okay. We have one more, I think, a comment that I wanted to make, and also like the follow-up question was around cultures and also industries. Is it something that we should really pay attention to in terms of like creating business cards? Then you want to be careful what industry you're in to see what standard it's acceptable there, so you go ahead with it, or you do your own just to stand out. That's one part of the question. And then the second part is just, I mean, Toronto is a very diverse place. There are many cultures here. Like, how much of these cultural nuances should we really take into consideration when we're networking?
So if you are doing business with the Chinese, and that's like where you do most of your business, then one, I would pay attention to their culture. But if you're not, then no, I don't think it's a huge deal. I know that once when I was going overseas, I had my business card translated. So on one side was English, the other side was the language that was spoken there as well. So I think it depends on who you're doing business with a lot. And if it is someone with a different language, perhaps. I've seen people who have Braille on their business cards. I've seen people who have French and English on their business cards. I think it all depends on who you're trying to attract and where do you want your business to go. So I think you have to look at your market, look at where you are, what company you have, and see what is industry standards, basically. I know for a lot of people who work in government now, there's Braille on their cards. It's, first of all, the cards in French and English, and then there's a lot of them have Braille on it, because now it's becoming industry standard.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. This has been very helpful. And Francesca is just loving the candle reference. She is also self candles.
I'm plugging because I'm hoping she'll send me a candle. That's what I keep talking about, this candle.
Yes,
right?
that's the plug.
Because I saw the candle that Nadine showed, and I'm thinking, like, you know,
yeah, awesome.
I throw it out there, it'll come.
We have it in the BBPA pop-up shop. We have a BBPA pop-up shop and curbside pickups are available. You can buy the things online. Ladies, can you see this?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing that.
Can you see this? And my wife over here. The ultimate boss woman, right? I had all kinds of things today. I still come home and cook my good food box. Anyway, we digress. Yeah, so we have the BBPA pop-up shop, and you can get the candles. I think we've got the belly butter there and other things. We have we have Nettie's non-joke sauce there. Nettie, I should have some of my sauce and my shrimp right now. But yeah, so Velma, that's where we can get the candles. Okay.
Thank you so much. This has been very insightful. I know we're like 5 minutes over time. Velma, thank you so much for giving your time. I know you said you were just going to speak 15 minutes, and we just like kept pulling you in with questions.
Thanks, Velma.
Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. We also have, there's a lady who was going to talk about her shoes, but I don't know if she's here.
I'm here.
Oh, amazing. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, Velma. I really wanted to call her out before you leave. So yeah, speak about Kiss Souls.
It's actually Kiss These Feet.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for the time, and thank you to all of our presenters, and thank you to the founders of this program. I've actually been learning a lot. So, my name is Keisha, and I'm the CEO of Kiss These Feet Plus Size Shoes. We are a shoe retailer, and we sell shoes in larger sizes for women with big feet. So if you are a woman who has a shoe size that's 9 and above, I'm pretty sure that you've had a difficult time finding shoes that fit, and we fill that gap, and we definitely solve that problem. So there's actually 80% of women have a shoe size above 8. Our feet are getting bigger as the time goes on, and over 70% of women actually have a wide foot. So a lot of times women are actually going one size up in shoes when what they actually need is a wider width. So we are definitely solving that problem, providing shoes from sizes 9 to 14, as well as in wide widths. And I did put the website in the chat box, so you can go ahead and visit. We're at www.kissthesefeet.com. And we also have another store, www.myshoesmysize.com. And that is for shoes that are much better value. Plus size shoes are a bit more expensive, and this Kiss These Feet is a designer brand. So you will see shoes in the $150 range. And on myshoesmysize.com, we have shoes that are $100 and less. So that's our brand.
Thank you so much, Keisha. One question, do you have the shoes at the pop-up?
I haven't signed up to your pop-up.
Oh, then you should.
Information from the program. I've just been attending the events through the Eventbrite links, but I haven't been getting the information directly from any of you guys.
Oh, so the pop-up is different from the Boss Woman program. So I will send you the link to that, just so that the products are more available and more accessible to people who want to buy. So thank you for sharing with us. I can totally relate because I'm a size 10, and I know Nadine is size 10 as well. We're like big fit here, so I can totally that. My mom is like, we call her fit bulldozer because we hardly ever find her size. But anyway.
Difficult. And with Payless Shoe closing down, it's getting harder and harder. Long Tall Sally closed down, so it's definitely difficult. And even those stores, they didn't really have designer shoes, and they didn't have shoes. They didn't have evening wear. They didn't have the heeled boots. So we really want to give women fashionable shoes. I love fashion. I love shoes. I love clothes. So I'm all about having women feel comfortable in the shoes that they're in and making women have a variety of shoes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. With that, we have come to the end of today's session. Keisha, please put the other website you talked about in the chat. We have a few people asking, just so that they can access those ones as well. Thank you again, Velma, for staying all the way till the end. Really appreciate this. And thank you, ladies, for staying as well. This event would not be what it is without you and you continually showing up. And so this would be the last session before Christmas. So this is a good time to say happy holiday, have fun with your Christmas. I don't know if anybody's still Christmas shopping, but yes, have fun with your Christmas shopping, enjoy your time with your family. And I'll see you. Our last session is next Tuesday, and then we would send you off into the new year. So have a good evening and enjoy the rest of your week.
Happy holidays, everyone. Be safe.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. Keisha, thank you. When you said more than 70% of people, women have big feet, that I'm so glad to know I'm not alone.
Definitely not alone.
And Nadine, I don't know why Uju is talking your business, eh?
Yeah. Her contact details in the chat as well. If someone wanted to get a hold of you directly.
Yep.
Sorry, was that to me?
Yeah, sure. Your email or something that we can find you.
Yeah.
Is my email and on Instagram.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, Kiss These Feet. Kiss These Feet. Oh, God. I love the name. I love the name.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I chose that name because I really want to take the shame from women who have big feet. I know a lot of us growing up were feet shamed, especially when we're younger. If we have bigger feet, it's how you put so big, and you grew up with all these different bad stigmas. So I want us to celebrate and enjoy our feet.
Yeah.
Not only that, have stylish shoes too if your feet are big, not these big, ginormous, ugly looking feet shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so who wants to wear those?
Exactly.
It's we gotten so used to making our outfit match our shoes. So we're going to the more dressed down outfits, or trying to make our outfits match our sneakers. And we want to be able to dress up and go to these events like everyone else. We don't want to be the coat hanger and have to sit down an hour later because our shoes don't fit properly, and we're just holding all our friends' jackets because we can enjoy our night. So I really wanted to have a name that took away the stigma of not appreciating and not loving and welcoming our feet. So
beautiful. I'm just checking out your setup through their Instagram. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Keisha,
I see the first website for Kiss These Feet, but I didn't see the second one that you mentioned.
I'll put it in again.
in the chat to everyone?
Yep. It's myshoesmysize.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. There you go.
All right. Merry Christmas, beauties.
Okay,
Merry
thank you.
Christmas.
Stay
Have a
safe.
great week. Oh, Nadine, happy birthday.